Hello everyone, how y'all doing? Welcome back to the spider web. And today we are going to be going over... Oh, BGM, you are very loud. There we go. Today we are going to be going over how to make your own dungeon. And we're just going to be using simple tools to make a quick dungeon. Any DM can do, any starter DM can do. Ain't gonna be much work. It's gonna take maybe 5-10 minutes, maybe even 25 if you're feeling fancy once you get used to it. And it's all just gonna be simple work. Nothing hard at all. But first, before we even get started, let me do a little bit of resizing. I want to make this just a smidge bigger so everybody can see. There we go. That'll be good enough. We can see pretty much everything that's important. You can also use that to make myself a smidge bigger. Yay. There we go. Also, today's model is made by the wonderful Star Spice. And let's go ahead and get started. So, Roll20 has recently, and by recently I mean a few months ago, rolled out a fabulous partnership with Scrawl. With Scrawl, it is a free-to-use tool. You can pay for it to get extra features, but everything you need is completely free. You're not going to pay a cent for anything. No paying for extra assets if you don't need them. Most of the assets that you'll need are free to use and are just already preloaded for you. But from that point, with that, let's go ahead and get started. As you see, it has the usual Photoshop controls, or if you're familiar with actually being on Roll20, just the same controls that they use there. Got a neat little changelog here, but that's not why we're here. This is why we're here. Simple maps. Now, for a simple Dungeons and Dragons map, or whatever tabletop game you're planning, if you're making a battle map, normally you should be looking to make 3 to 5 rooms for a simple map. First one should be an entrance, and that can include just scene settings, or it can actually include an actual encounter, whatever you want to do. But at the very least, just setting the scene for, okay, this is your dungeon. Next, you should include a battle room. Some room where your players, they can either do battle with a creature, each other, the floor, the darkness, but something that they can actually fight and want to overcome. There should be a puzzle. Now, the puzzle doesn't have to be a different room. The puzzle can actually be the same room. The puzzle can even be what keeps a fight from happening, as you'll be seeing in the example I'm going to be making today. And last but not least, you want a trap and you want a reward. The trap is fine. You can incorporate that anywhere, but having a room solely for a trap, it's just, okay, hey, you make choices. Sometimes your choices are the bad one. And then the treasure, it doesn't just have to be a straightforward reward. It can be the treasure itself can be a trap. And we'll get into that as well. But now, on to just how this whole program works. Oh, hey, Gote, what's up? Welcome in. Thank you for that recent follow. I saw you popped in last night. Quite appreciative. But for how these tools work, they give you plenty to choose from to make a simple dungeon. If you just want to make something standard and basic where it's just, okay, got a black map, a black field, and you just put your map over that, that works just fine. I personally like the one that they start on default, where it has this hatched pattern around it. It looks really nice. And if for some reason you don't like how the outer sketching looks or the style of the dungeon after you build it, you can just hover over the design you want and apply it to the current dungeon layer that you'll find right over here. And that will just keep your exact same settings and just transform the entire map to being that new theme. No extra work involved. But let's go ahead and get started and make a simple room. I'm going to zoom out just a smidge, and I'm going to make a 10 by 10 room. We'll say that's going to be our entrance. Now for this, looks kind of flat. Another option that they add if you want to try and give your maps more depth is isometric mode or top-down mode. This top-down mode, it's just like it sounds. You're actually making a map where if you're, say you had physical pieces, you can just move them along the board. And to go into isometric mode, just go over to view here. And isometric. Now it starts off as off, and trust me, you want that. It's kind of hard building an isometric map in isometric mode. It's weird. It can help with perspective, but it looks a bit weird. Now dimetric, in my opinion, I don't really use that. It's not that important. But if you're interested in it, it exists for you. But isometric mode. There we go. Now you're on a flat surface. And it will show, it's showing you, okay, here's how your dungeon is oriented. It starts, you can put a door over here, somewhere, whatever you want to do. And then you can build off into that, and it'll show you that it's building, which direction it's building off into before you even start. But I am going to go ahead and go back into standard mode so we can do some stuff. Alright, but we have our entrance room. Let's make our players a fight room. And this one it's gonna be a fight and a puzzle in the exact same room. So I'm gonna give them a 27 by 16 square. Just drop it like that. And there we go. We already got 2 rooms, just like that. No real work involved. But how are we gonna connect these two? There's nothing here, like, it's not like we can just erase this. Best part is, we don't have to. You can just make a hallway cutting through the two, since it naturally merges the shapes. So what we're going to do is we're just going to click a point, drag out a bit, and we want them to have some walk room, but not too much. 3 by half, a 3-inch walkway is enough. And then we're just gonna drag that through so it connects, and bloop, there we go. Easy made hallway. Looks like it had been connected the entire time, and this looks perfectly fine. But now we have this just empty space here, and players, if they walk into this dungeon, they can automatically see what's in that room. We don't want that. We want them to at very least try to work for what they want. So in this situation, what we're just going to do is add a door. Now, the lovely thing about this, it has every tool you're going to need right on the bottom. Your pan tool, so you can just click that if you don't want to touch anything and just move around your map. Also, the scroll button on your mouse, that works all the time. You don't have to go into any particular mode. You can even hold down your middle button to have pan mode, even if you have, say, square tool active. Makes it real easy. You have a polygon, a regular polygon. So if you want to, say, add a funky boss room over here, give it some dimension. Bloop, there you go. You've got yourself a rectangle. You got yourself a 2, 4 hexagon. Yes, that's the right word, hexagon. But a hexagon is still there, and if you don't want it, you can always get rid of it. I forgot where that little part is. Either way, and you just Control Z it. And if you say you don't want that on the same layer, it's perfectly fine. You can add a new dungeon layer. See, new dungeon layer. Bloop. There you go, dungeon layer 2, and I'm gonna re-add that pentagon. Hexagon. There we go. Like it's gone. No, it's not. Or maybe it is. What the fuck? Where is my hexagon? Ah, there we go. Well, we're gonna ignore that for now, but still. Let's see. It's relatively easy to just stick that on another layer, be done with it. Not sure why that's scuffing right now, but we'll deal with that another day. Another day, Robin. Now, like I was saying, we have a pathing tool. So let's put a rectangle on the same layer this time. I'm gonna do like that. Okay. Now, say you don't want just a straight path, like, say, from here to here, because that looks ugly. It's a bit chunky. Get rid of that. We're gonna go into the pathing tool and just draw. Let's see. We're gonna take snapping off, and bloop. There you go. You have a winding path that just connects to your room for whatever you want. And the fun thing is, you can even use the pathing tool to make a room of itself. It'll just carve away at whatever you're doing. It looks ugly, but you can use that to make mazes, anthills, whatever you really want to do. Then you have polygon tool, which in my opinion I don't really use, but it could be helpful for some. Wall tools. Simple explanation, it makes a wall. Then you have your select tools, so that way, say you plop anything down, you can move that around as you will, but here's what we want. The door. And for that, you just drag from point to point, snap it into place. There you go. Now, our players will have to get through this door to see what's on the side of this wall. And to keep that a surprise in-game, you can use Roll20's built-in dynamic lighting, cover that room in shadow, and make it so that way, until your players actually get through that door, they can't see anything that's on the other side of this wall. But alright, we've got our entrance, we've got our main room, we've got the first door, and we're going to build a door over here, so that way they know which way they came in. But now we need some more rooms. Let's make a small room here, and a larger room here. Alright, simple enough. And now we need to connect them. Now, a good way to make your players paranoid, make your hallways small. The smaller a hallway, the more they're going to assume they're the trap. So if you do like that, and then make so that way only one player can get through at a time, put some kind of barrier in the way, they're gonna try and search around first. I don't like where that door is placed. We're gonna go back to our select tool, grab it, and move it. Oh, come on now. Oh, that's the polygon tool. There you are. Object tool. There you go. And place that there. And now for continuing with making our players paranoid, we're going to put a wider hallway over here in the room that's actually going to be a trap. And put a door over here so that way they can't peek inside. Now, with this, you have your entrance, your fight/puzzle room, a reward room possibly, or a boss room, and a trap room. So, pretty simple dungeon layout. Not much to go off of, but easily modifiable. Now, say we want to go and actually start filling this place. Well, for that, that depends on how you actually want to go about this. Now, if you want to do the total top-down perspective, by all means, tried and true method. It's nice, it works. If you want to go the isometric route, though, just click into view, isometric, and boom, top down. And just so you can see it, here's the dimetric format. It's not that much different. I really don't like it. But we're just going to stick in isometric. But okay, we have our rooms. We gotta fill them though. Now, thankfully, they have assets already pre-installed for us. Just go over to images and boom. You can search if you know what you're looking for. And it also goes by the lovely asset creators who have already made just standard use props for us. So you don't even have to do anything other than pretty much make your own monsters, or if you're using Roll20, bring them, just plop them in from your from the free assets that Roll20 also offers. Although with free assets from Roll20, it can be a bit dicey if you're if the tokens don't match with what you're wanting. But even then, you can always make your own, and we're going to be making our own with a very simple tool called Token Stamp 2. You just drag whatever image you want there, plops out a token that you can use for your monsters right there, or your NPCs, whatever you want to do. I use this every game for player portraits, so that way they have their token, and I don't have to try and figure out how I'm going to resize their token to the map, because that comes as a standard size that fits perfectly into a 5x5 square. You can also change the color and everything around, and if you want, you can even make it look fancy. Got all these cute things that you can use, but then again, free tools. Ain't got to do a thing, it's already built for you. But let's get back to actually filling this dungeon. Now, if you're going to be building the dungeon in isometric mode, you want isometric props. What I mean by that is, if your prop looks flat, if your object is flat, it's going to look weird. So here, let's put this back in standard view. And let's just drop a flat coffin in there. See, there you go. Click it. Easy. Now, from a top-down perspective, this doesn't look too bad. It looks nice. You're like, okay, there's a coffin in the middle of the room. Probably something in that coffin. But let's pop over into isometric mode, and you'll see what I mean from that. See that? It just looks like a spot on the floor. Maybe a weird footprint. It doesn't quite look right. Now, so let's go ahead and get rid of that. And instead, we're going to go over to search, and we're just going to type in ISO. There we go. Isometric props that we can use. And you know what? We're going to go ahead and start with a pillar. There we go. There you go. You have a pillar that you can put in your dungeon that implies the existence of either a second floor or that this dungeon is now underground. We also have isometric doors that you can just plop right on over the door that you've already created. And bloop. There you go. But that looks a lot better than trying to just say, oh hey, this black shape in the middle of the floor is a coffin. Welcome in, welcome in. Let's see, let's go to view. Now with ISO props, just in vice versa, flat props don't look good on the isometric map. Isometric props don't look good on a flat map. See, that doesn't look right. It looks really, really squonky. We don't want that. So, as you're putting your dungeon together, think about what kind of props you want to use before you start trying to fill it in. If you want to go top down, that's fine. Use flat props. There are plenty of flat props that look great. Point in case, we're gonna go there we go. Flat crate. Oh, flat chest. Ha. We love justice. We love justice in this house. But a flat chest, there we go. See, that looks good. That chest looks better than this pillar, because this pillar is out of place in a flat map, being with isometrics being semi 3D. This chest, however, is perfectly fine since it's a 2D chest in a 2D space. But alright, we're going to go back to isometric mode again. And we're going to finish populating. Thank you, CoffeeBot. I'm going to add a few pillars here just to give it that image of support. And now we're going to go ahead and fill out the rest of the room. Now we want this small room over here to be a trap room. The trap can be something simple. Can be it can be something falling on you, or as I prefer, it can be something falling, which in this case, a pitfall. And there you go. A pitfall is a cliche trap, but it's a cliche trap for a reason, because it works. Pitfalls have been used in wars. They have been used as generic traps everywhere. No one expects a pitfall, just like no one expects the Spanish Inquisition. It just ain't happening. So, people usually aren't prepared for it. Also, the pitfall does not have to be a deadly trap. You can use a pitfall to do a TPK, total party kill, for anybody who's still uninitiated, but it does not have to be. You can just make it be a 10-foot drop. Okay, they take a few points of bludgeoning damage from the fall, but at the same time, that's still a trap they can easily get out of. You can put spikes at the bottom of it if you want to actually kill them. You can put acid at the bottom if you want to kill them, or you can just leave it empty and like, hey, guess what? You're in a prison. You're in a prison trap right now. Find your way out before the guards show up. And that is a-okay, because if they're just going to walk into the room, that's a perception check. They gotta pass that first. And then with this room, we did say we want a reward room. And as always, the reward can also be a trap. So with that, I'm gonna put a few chests in here. I'm gonna space them apart. And there we go. 3 chests that they have to actually go in there to find out. And like I said, small hallways. They're going to be paranoid going down that. It makes it very easy to guide players into doing a bit more exploring, or at the very least, it adds a air of caution to their proceedings. It makes them want to use what they have at their disposal. Right. Say they went into say you have a party full of mages. Hey, you all didn't bring a rogue. Now you all have to use your magic to figure out how we're going to see inside this room to make sure it's not going to kill us. Now we have doors, have a trap, have chests. But now what this dungeon is really missing, outside of set arrangement, is monsters. So I already have a token pre-made, but we're going to pretend that it doesn't exist right now, so we can go ahead and go over that. Token creation. Token stamp 2 by rolladvantage.com. Perfect tool for making a quick token, especially in the middle of a session. I'm heavily guilty of that, but it works. So just choose an image. And okay. There we go. I got this picture of this troll right here. There we go. Troll. Now you can see how it's going to look over here as you adjust it. This is an official troll image from Wizards of the Coast. This is their own creation. This is their own work, and this is to be used in one of their own properties. If you're going to use somebody's art, please credit them. Please buy their art. Like commissioning a token, someone to make you a token, it's not that expensive. It ain't that hard. There is free to use art around and that are in public commons that are released by the people who make the books. But if you want to use somebody else's art, ask them or buy it off of them. Do something to respect the artist. Like at the very least, you gotta credit them. But I digress. We have it pretty much centered. Shows what creature we're dealing with. Got a troll. So what we're going to do is we're just going to click on download. There we go. It always comes as token 1. It's always going to be token 1. So there's really not much else you can do there. You'll just have to rename it in post. But anywho, we're going to pop back over here. Go to images. Now we want to put our newly made troll in this dungeon. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on this right here, uploads. Now you can drag and drop, or you can go into your system files and do it that way. I'm just going to drag and drop right here. If it'll work, it will not, so. Okay, just gonna have to open the file then. Oh, no. Just gonna have to open the file and manually drop it. And there we go. Once it's up, click over here, get rid of that, and sort. When it goes all, go to uploads. Oh, it didn't add my thing. Looks like their drag and drop might not be working properly, so we'll just have to do it manually. Downloads. And choosing our troll token. There we go. Pixels per cell, it says 70. You can just leave it at that, it's fine. You can adjust its size later. Besides, it's going to be small anyway. There we go. One new troll token. And that's pretty cool for right now, but what is the purpose of, what's the point of having just one sausage on a plate? 2, and now we have an encounter. This is something you can expect 4 people, a table of 3 to 4 to be able to handle with some difficulty, but not so much that the game is unfun. Or you could even have this be the part of the puzzle room, where, say, one troll always lies, one's telling the truth. And they each guard one door. There you go. Party can talk their way out of it, or they can kill their way out of it. Either way, though, they have multiple options, and all because you put in more than one creature in a room. But now, so we have our dungeon, we have our monsters, we have our trap, and we have our rewards. And we have our lovely, lovely doors. All that's really missing at this point is set designing. How are we going to design this to make sure that on entrance, our players know they've walked into a dangerous situation? show them failure. So we're going to go back to all things, and then type in ISO. A good way to show that other people have come and failed before you. Bones. Give them a pile of bones to look at. You can click on the top of this and move it around, but it's pretty much good where it as is. Just scatter the bones of this dungeon's previous victims around, and it will show that just, hey, people have tried and failed this before. And depending on how you play stuff, you can even insinuate things about the dungeon, such as, oh, although these are monsters, they keep their trash separate from the rest of the dungeon, or they're not horrible, but they're just here doing their job. Also, you can use bones to make the unassuming look threatening. Oh, there you go. Let's put bones over by this one. There you go. See now with this, we've got 3 chests here. With this addition of some bones, it now looks like we have 3 chests where one of them is a bit off, and that somebody made it this far through, and they died right before they could get to the finish line. They died before they got to whatever's in that chest. Now the question is something in the room with you? Or did there's something in that chest kill them? They'll have to figure that one out. You can dot bricks around to give it more of a stony texture, but all in all, I don't really care for these. They're not really that interesting to me, but if you like them, you can have them. And got walls, crates, rocks. My favorite thing they have, stairs. Because as we were discussing, you could, with isometrics and those pillars, you can imply the existence of a second level on top of this dungeon. Boom. That means, with that, now they know, hey, if we get past these trolls, we could go upstairs and see what's really behind this, see if we can figure out something. And with that, you can just let's make them a boss room. And there we go. We now have a boss room. And now we can't make stairs that look like they're coming up from this way with an isometric tool. Unfortunately, that's just not how it works. If you try and send it to the back, it's still there. Try and send it to the front, no change. Flip it, still real no change here. So what I recommend doing is using the stairs tool. Stairs tool. Just pick a point, pick your stair, put a line, and there you go. Shadow of stairs. And we're gonna grab this with the object tool. There we go. You can imply that there were a flight of stairs going down. Just flip it around to suit your needs. Can be a bit wonky, but it's a free tool. There's really not much to complain about here. Now you need to put a big bat. You need a big bat for the dungeon. And that you can do pretty much whatever you will with. But say you also want a hidden path that will lead from the treasure room. That say you want to give them a chance to bypass all that as well. Can just use the pathing tool. Go back to our layers. Go to our path tool down here. And there we go. Now you want to make sure snap is off or else it's going to look wonky. Like here it is with snap on. There we go. See, although it's straight, it looks a bit weird. Turn off your snap, however. There you go. You've now given your players a chance to skip directly to the treasure room. Although whether or not that's a good thing is up to them to find out. Just leave that there. And as you saw earlier, there are plenty of other isometric assets you can use. Torches, banners, bushes, rocks. Things to give it more character. Show that, no, this is a dungeon. Like, you're in the thick of it, and now you gotta find your way out. All in all, it's not that hard. Now, say you want to keep this, like you did good work, you want to keep this. Let's port it over to Roll20. That way you can immediately put this dungeon to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on File, Save. This is going to go ahead and save that too for you. Dungeon DS. DS stand for Dungeon Scrawl file. Unfortunately, they do not have a direct export feature unless you sign up for a account. But even then, if you do, it's an option. So what we're going to do now is go over to Roll20. Oop. Oh, I didn't see that. We're going to hide this real quick. Oop, there we go. Sweet. Magic. We're gonna pop right on over here to, where is that game I just built? I built it solely for this, and it's not visible. That makes me upset. Oh, there it is. I'm just blind. But, say we want to just go into a game. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and import our new map. What we're going to do is we're going to click on Launch. There we go. Completely blank, devoid of life. But it won't be that way for long. We just need to go ahead and add a new asset. Go into your folders and find your newly added DS file. Yep, there it is. Now this worked yesterday. I hope it works today. If it doesn't, there are other options of doing this. No, I said save as. Oh, there we go. Ah, that's what I did. Okay. Export. There we go. There we go. There's your map. See, it's not really liking this DS file, and that's because, well, I'm not always the smartest spider boy in the world. I flub up and forget my own tutorials sometime. And that's part of it. Use export, so we're going to go ahead and cancel that. And instead we're going to upload the PNG format that we just made. If my folder will show it to me. Stop being a turd, monkey. There we go. Now we're going to let that upload. And the good thing about Dungeon Scrawl, it will tell you the exact dimensions of the map you made. So, when you go over here and click on this little gear, you can set it for the exact dimensions and not have to guess. It's already set to 70 pixels. You just need to adjust it accordingly. So that map is 93 by 59. Save. We're going to scroll out a bit. There we go. Now we can just swap that map right there. It's small, but when you stretch it out, it will fit snugly because that is the exact it is the exact size it was made for. And luckily this Roll20 has free transform. So say you want to just you want to get a map offline from somewhere else, you can do that and stretch it to fit your needs, but if it's a gridded map, it will not fit the way you want, because the grid that Roll20 has set standard may not be the same grid size that the map was built for. So that is always something you're gonna have to take into account. And that's why building your own is nice. Look at this. I can put this on my map layer. And there we go. We have a dungeon. And I can populate this with whatever I want. Say, this is going to be my big bad. I'm going to move his token right in here. This is actually a player from one of my other games, but I don't think he'll mind me messing around with his reverse token. And there you go. We have a big bad. We have trolls that are technically a part of the map right now because of how I built it, but Like, it is better to populate your map inside of your actual play setting, but it is what it is. It's not the end of the world if they become part of the scenery. Hey, you can even say that these are just 2 dead trolls. There you go. Now the question is, what killed these trolls? Why are they here? How did they get down here in the first place? And this, you can have a whole little encounter about. But that is just how easy it is to make a map in Dungeons and Dragons, or Pathfinder, or pretty much whatever game you want. This is a simple dungeon. Did this take us an hour to make? Yes. Is this because it's on a stream? Yes. Did I already have one made ahead of time? Yes. Got it. That thumbnail came from somewhere. But these don't take long to make. You can make these in the middle of a campaign. Say your players are in the middle of putting together some plot, or they're having an RP session during the campaign and like, oh hey, I heard that there's this dungeon quest from the Adventurers Guild. Now you gotta make a dungeon real quick. Say a player is going to prison because they threw a fireball into a crowded city. Hey, they've got to go to jail. You need to make a quick jail. Make one. The Dungeon Scrawl is a quick and efficient tool, especially for a GM, because I'm gonna let you in on a secret. None of us are prepared. GMing, none of us have anything planned. We have an outline of maybe 2 or 3 plot points for a session, and y'all usually choose option 5, which does not exist until you said something. Like, I've had a bard find religion because he decided to go on a spending spree and give gold away to children to spread merriment. It's weird. It happens. None of us are ready. We just live with it. And that's all right. But all right. Now, we've finished up this. Let's go back here and let's make something a bit more complicated. Something that'll just be for us and so we can have a little bit of fun. We're going to go ahead and do open. Oh, nope, not open. We're just going to refresh the page. So now, if you haven't signed up for a free account, or signed up for a pro account if you're feeling fancy, it won't save any of your work on the actual site. You have to go File, open the DS file, and it'll reload everything. But we don't want to do that. We want to go ahead and we're going to make a top-down map for, say, a 5-room. We're going to make a 5 to 8 room dungeon. It's going to have a few traps, and then we're going to populate it with monsters. Let's go ahead and zoom out and put one together real quick. Feel free to time me if you'd like. I'm going to do a 12 by 12 square here. Hallway. Mm-hmm. Okay. Out there. Let's move you out here. Thank you, CoffeeBot. I know you're my friend. And there we go. Quick map. And that's just putting the rooms together. That would probably taken like 4 minutes if I didn't have stupid fingers sometimes. Nothing wrong with that, but it's very quick, very simple. Now we're gonna go ahead and fill this with traps. And we're gonna stay top down here. Let's go ahead and make a pit. Like I said, if you want to kill your players, give them a spike pit. Alright, and there's nothing wrong with trying to kill your players. It is a problem if you're just trying to make your players suffer, but that's not the point of the game. But there's nothing wrong with just trying to kill your players. Alright, hey, they'll deal. They'll be alright. They go into this expecting a total party kill anyway. There you go. And like I said, you can adjust the theme as you want. It's real simple to do. Long hallways, always nice. Leave that little tidbit there. Because now they have to wonder if there's actually something behind that, or they're just being paranoid. They're just gonna be paranoid. And that's perfectly fine. We enjoy a spot of paranoia. Gonna go ahead and put some doors in. Grand door here. And some smaller doors here. Here. Get rid of that little extra smaller door there. Let's get rid of the door tool. And now let's just finish populating. Let's see, we have a spike pit. Let's go ahead and give them some loot. I know how to spell chests. Don't worry. I'm misspelling on purpose. Yes, that's exactly it. Since we're not making an isometric map, we do not want isometric chests. That will literally just come back to bite us in the ass. Flip that around. So 4 to 5 four to 5 chests. That's enough. Put one in this last room over here. And let's see. We want this dungeon to look like it's owned by the learned. So we will go ahead and put books. Glorious, glorious books. You can also use this tool to make your NPC houses and stores. Works very easy for that, and it's a lot simpler since you only have to usually make like 1 or 2 rooms. Actually, we're gonna hide that door behind the bookshelf. Little surprise inside. Okay. Now this map is still very sparse, but all in all, it has more life to it now than it did a few minutes ago. Got a fog cloud here. Put an obstacle in the way, not necessarily a trap, just something for them to deal with. And putting obstacles in your player's way is not bad. Obstacles, that's what they have their powers for. If they didn't have anything in their way, there wouldn't be any purpose for them to really have them, and the adventure would probably be over before it started. And now we just need to finish up. Let's see, put some bones around. Bones are, like I said, always a nice marker of danger and threat. Like, you are not the first, you are not the last. Well, hopefully you're the last, but at the same time, there's no guarantee that you are going to be the last victim of this place. You know what, as a good set piece, larger bones, because what that tells you is that either something much bigger and stronger than you died here, or that whoever owned this place before you showed up is a collector of some very odd things. See, weapons on the ground, crystals, food. So much you can do here. But what we're going to do is we are going to play up to the whole there's something stronger here than you and put a sarcophagus right there in the middle. Expand that out a bit and bloop. There we go. Now your players will walk in, see that sarcophagus, and see the bones, and know, hey, there is a significant threat. The enemy is more than likely a vampire. If their players know that, that's up to them, but at the same time, metagame wise, they realize, is a vampire. And at that point, they have to discuss what they're going to be doing and how they plan to tackle this new substantial threat that is now in their way. I do love that you can freely resize these. Makes it so much simpler. There we go. With that, we have a simple dungeon, quickly made, that has a start point, a investigation room, can be a battle room as well, loot in various places, an obstacle, a trap, and a boss. I would say not bad for about 12 minutes work. So, if you're ever wanting to make a dungeon, by all means, please do. Please get into being a game master, get into Dungeons and Dragons, get into Pathfinder. It's simple. The majority of the tools you'll need to use to do anything you want are free. And it's so easy. But now that we have that out the way, we have our map all set up and done, I think we can go ahead and call it there. Because personally, I want to go on a very specific raid. We're going to go ahead and raid my model mama. So, the call goes out to calling all spider riders. We're gonna go ahead and raid the one, the only Clara Dogford, who is currently doing a book rant. The content may be 18 plus, so just a heads up. At the same time, you're already in the 18 plus channel, just be kind. In the meantime, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Now, if you have anything you want to go ahead and do in the future, by all means, please hit me up. I DM for a living, so if you would want to come along and either commission me for a dungeon, or even just to be your DM, by all means hit me up. My information is always available, and I'm always available in the Discord. But until then, I'll see you all later. Bye!